Today's Sunday school lesson is from Daniel chapter 3, and it's basically the story about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and it's verses 14 through 26 of Daniel chapter 3. First off, Daniel, the book of Daniel, the background is that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel are godly men, and they're leaders, and they're an important part of the city and province of Babylon. And Israel is in captivity in Babylon. The year is approximately 580 BC. Old Nebuchadnezzar is the king of Babylon, and Daniel is the ruler of the province of Babylon. Daniel is chief of the governors, and he is over all the wise men. The Hebrew characters in the lesson are Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Their names were changed to Belteshazzar, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And Daniel and his friends, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, are key political leaders in the province of Babylon. Here's the scripture, Daniel 3, 14 through 18 to begin with. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not serve ye my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up. Now if you be ready, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made. But if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Here's their response. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So here's kind of a summary of what's happened here. Nebuchadnezzar had this big golden statue erected. It was about 90 feet tall. He had brought in a large gathering of leaders from all over the kingdom of Babylon to the dedication of this statue. Now, we don't know if it was a statue of Nebuchadnezzar or just a statue of some deity or idol of some kind. The leaders were from all over the kingdom, and they spoke different languages. And at the appropriate time, with the sound of instruments, a herald announced that everyone must fall down and worship the image. So at the appropriate time, everyone fell down and worshiped the image, except a few. But some of the Chaldeans accused some of the Jews. They went to Nebuchadnezzar and recited to him the requirements that he had made for worshiping the image. They named Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego specifically as not having regarded Nebuchadnezzar. They said that they also did not serve his gods. They said that they also did not worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Nebuchadnezzar was full of rage and fury when he heard this. He had Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego brought before him, and he asked them if it was true that they did not serve his gods nor worship the golden image that he had built. He gave them an opportunity to bow down and worship. He gave them the choice of bowing down or being cast into a hot furnace. He asked them, Who is the God that can deliver you out of my hands? They answered him very wisely and with confidence. God is able to deliver us, and quite possibly he will deliver us. But even if he does not, we will not serve your gods or worship the gold image that you have set up. Now let's read further from the scripture. Daniel 3, verses 19 to 23. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was normally heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the fiery furnace. Nebuchadnezzar was full of fury, and his countenance changed when he heard that these guys had disobeyed him. He was angry against them. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than normal. He called the mightiest men in his army. He told them to bind these guys up, all their clothes, all their clothing, all their coats and everything, bind them up and cast them into the middle of this burning hot furnace. Because the furnace was so hot, the flames killed the mighty men. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego fell down into the hot furnace. But Nebuchadnezzar saw a miraculous sight in the flames. A 4th man who looked like the Son of God was in there with them. Now, Daniel chapter 3, verses 24 through 26. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O God. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they're not hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace, and spake, and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, you servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. Nebuchadnezzar confirmed with his men that they had only thrown 3 men in the flames. Then Nebuchadnezzar came near Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and spoke to them, and commanded them to come out of the flames. And they came out, and there was no damage to their clothing or their bodies, and there wasn't even the smell of smoke on them, and not a hair was singed. Nebuchadnezzar changed his whole attitude after seeing the miracle and encountering the Son of God in the furnace. He blessed God. He confessed that God had saved them. He made a decree that no one should speak against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because there is no other God who could deliver in such a manner. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were promoted in the province of Babylon as a result. Here's a brief summary. God is trustworthy and dependable. Believers will face persecution. We must stand in faith under the persecution. Standing in faith honors God. Thank you.